What's good word, everyone? I'm Ken Devine, the owner of SportsBooks.com. Welcome to the show where we're going to talk about running backs don't matter. But notice I had to actually correct my my title to this video because I almost put running backs don't matter, but what I really truly mean is NFL running backs don't matter. College running backs, different story with the depth charts there. I would argue that the Georgias and Alabamas of the world, the top teams, it doesn't matter as much. But with lower teams, there can be enough of a significant drop off. But in terms of sports betting, when we're talking running backs in the NFL, okay, are you a Kansas City Chiefs fan? If not, if you're a casual follower, remember that running back from the Chiefs? Exactly. Edwards-Helaire. And that's just because I, as a Raider fan and, know some players. But most people, unless you know every player from every team instead of knowing how to sports bet, taking your priorities into knowing every player's name, you really wouldn't know the running backs of the Kansas City Chiefs as they made this run, how many different running backs they have had. And it's not just because of the Kansas City Chiefs. There is a system, and I first realized this, and it was pointed out by another smart man also, but I first realized this, or maybe not first, but I really solidified myself with Austin Eckler, because Justin Jackson was the Chargers running back. Austin Eckler, Jackson goes down. Oh, no, now what? Eckler comes in. He's fine. Eckler gets hurt. Someone else is going to come in. It's kind of like fantasy football. With fantasy football, when they tell you to draft running backs and stuff like that, it's like, I had the most uncomfortable draft last year in my fantasy. I ended up winning it because running backs do matter in fantasy football, but there's so many that are going to make an impact. There's going to be the backup running backs that come in for at least 10 teams. So now you talk about the big ones. Most teams have their two running backs, and then when they come in, oh, Pollard, oh, he's good now. Oh, he's pretty good. Blah, 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 blah. Everybody is pretty good. And they should not be more than a half a point to a point spread at the absolute most, especially in a spot start. Now, people are going to come back with the only the three I think of right off the top of my head, because I didn't make notes on every single running back, is McCaffrey, Barkley, and Henry. So what happened? Like, Henry goes down. Oh, Tajay Spears isn't going to be fine enough. And the thing that people see in running backs is the great breakaway run, the great breaking of tackles. Yes, and I've gone back and forth with this. It's like, oh, Henry just got 8 where someone else would have got 5, but in the 5 yards. But in the grand scheme of things, running backs do not matter, because you can bring one in that is all they have to do is be 50% as good, and they'll be fine, and everything works out. No one goes, we're going to get that running back, and we're going to be over the top. We're going to get Adrian Peterson, and we're going to be over the top. It doesn't work that way. There's a reason that these running backs came together. It's like after we figured out that running backs don't matter, a couple years later, like the running back committee wants to get paid more money. You know why they want to be paid more money? Well, they want to make more money. But you want to know why people aren't paying most of them the money? Because running backs do not matter. You take Henry off Tennessee, and they still were able to make it to the playoffs a couple of years back. He comes back and they lose the playoff game. Now, it's not just because he came back. It's not any reason. It's because it's not significantly a better thing. That's why people pay for, left tackle. And it's like left tackles do matter to the point spread. And that's how you so take advantage, because when a star goes out, especially skills position stars, and most notably running backs, because I haven't I don't put this into like wide receivers as much, even though there's a lot of good wide receivers out there. When you take a wide receiver out, now you don't have to double them. Now it frees them up to really change that, to come down on people, because you can argue that receivers do matter, especially if you have one and then a 1B that's not really a 1B that just looks good because the coverage isn't rolled over to him. So I can argue how receivers will matter. I can argue how cluster injuries will matter. Let's write that down. Cluster injury. We're going to have to do a cluster injury video. All right. Injury. Because we always want to bring a lot more information to you guys as we go along. But with running backs, they're plug and play. And you don't believe me? Saquon Barkley goes out for the Giants. Oh, no. It's the one star they have. It's the reason to watch them. And that's what it is. It's the entertainment value of these superstar running backs with a Barkley and a Henry that is really missed. You know, the entertainment of the NFL. But when it comes down to the final minutes of the games, where this is a passing league, people have come to me and said, Emmitt Smith mattered, Walter Payton mattered. It's like, duh. Do you understand that that's like saying running backs? That's like if you came up and said running backs don't matter in the 70s. Of course they do. All they did was run the ball. The NFL has changed to a passing league. And when you're talking about Emmitt Smith and you're talking about Walter Payton, it was a balanced league. And back in Payton, it was more of a running league. There's running would be dominant, or it would be like Marino was the weird one back then. Well, now he would be common here. So running backs have become less, don't matter as much. Now, when they become receivers, then you can make a little bit more of an argument. I think the number one argument you can make against my case that running backs don't matter is McCaffrey. But the truth is that team really started to struggle when Debo was out. And that was a receiver that they can't double. They can't, an electric receiver taken out. It affects the backfield. A running back comes out, it doesn't affect things. You can still do the same things. Now, I'm not saying the team is quite as good, but I'm not saying that because that guy's gone, they went from Super Bowl contender to nothing. And it goes for the point spreads. And that's how you can take advantage. When they sometimes they will adjust the point spread, 3 points. Oh, McCaffrey's out. Debo's still there. And they got a smart coach. And so the effect of it doesn't matter as much. When running backs come out, in and out, they've become a two-layered system. So it's like, oh, Zeke and Pollard, and then Zeke goes away. Oh, and now it's all Pollard. Backup's still going to come in. So the use of the running back and why they don't get paid as much is because there's too many of them. And there's not a big drop down. And if there is a bit of a drop down, it doesn't matter in this passing league because you would just get exposed a little quicker, but you're going to need to throw the ball. If you're going to run, pass, you are not going to win big in this league. People always talk about, running. No, the best defense is going to win. Defense wins championships. No, teams win championships. And, people always want to point to one thing. A quarterback. Mahomes is the reason they always win. Tom Brady's the only reason they always win. And it's like, yeah, Tom Brady won all those Super Bowls with a top 10 defense. It's the team. But if you have a top 10 defense and Justin Fields is your quarterback, it's not going to matter one iota. So running backs do not matter in the point spread. And I want you to take advantage of this information when you see a running back go down and all of a sudden the point spread's adjusted by 3 or 4 points. Because that's a time to jump in and take that team with the injured running back, especially if it's just a spot 1 or 2 games. That's kind of a key. Now, you got to look into everything else, but you got to look into the offensive line, make sure the offensive line is cohesive and all that type of stuff. But when the only reason a spread is moved by a few points because of a running back, because he's popular, a Barkley, a McCaffrey, a Henry, you will find value where you can possibly pick up an extra win. So I know there's arguments about running backs do matter, but I'm going to say running backs do matter in the scheme of the game, but whatever it says on his back doesn't matter. His name doesn't matter. The position might matter, but there's so many running backs out there that you can win. Now, this advice is only for the NFL. In college football, you can argue back and forth about the really good teams that, you look at an Alabama or Georgia, they might have 3 pros on there. But you go outside the top 6 or 8 teams, there could be a huge drop-off in running back talent level where running backs can matter in college. So I will not make that blanket statement for college football, but for the NFL, running backs don't matter. Come join us at sports@balls.com. We're going to do plenty of videos. We got a lot of videos up on our site. I recommend you check every single one of them out. We're going to have a lot of fun. We are even going to have a video about the Bad News Bears. But we're going to, sometimes you get so much chock of information, of stats and everything. Sometimes you need to have a little fun, and we'll do that with the Bad News Bears. So I'm letting you know to watch the 1976 Bad News Bears because there will be we will be giving away what happened at the end of the movie. We're going to have we'll put a spoiler alert on there, but you'll be ready. So remember, NFL only. Running backs do not matter. Come join us, and let's make money.